What is up, guys? It is episode 5 of the KT350Z build, and in this episode we're just going to be getting all the finishing touches done, finishing up all the intercooler piping, all the lines that need ran, putting in catch cans, all of the brake system, getting all that chase base stuff installed. So you're going to get to see us do the last touches to the car with what needs to be done in order to get it down to lead to go to the dyno, so we can see what kind of numbers this thing makes. Okay, now this is pretty crazy to see because I had to take the fans out instantly the moment I started building intercooler piping. So now I finally have the intercooler piping all done and the fan shroud all remade. All the hoses hooked up and everything is coming together really nice. It's finally starting to look like this is all complete. I got to start running lines for the turbo. That'll just go there to there, there to there. Then the turbo lines are done for coolant, then feed to the top, and then the drain obviously down to the pan. Throw a catch can on here, and it really start to bring the engine bay together, and it's all getting there. I'm getting clean injectors tomorrow, and just keep picking away at little things at a time. Weld this fully so that it is secured, it's dealt with, so that all intercooler piping is done. Finish the bead rolls on the intercooler piping, put all the clamps on, just start finalizing everything and checking it off the list to getting the ECU in it down to Lee to get it wired. The turbo lines now all made, so this one's just a 90, wraps around, 90s into here, 90s back out, 45 to the radiator. I am going to wrap all of this with some like heat protectant, like put some sleeving on it, just because it does run really close to the manifold. And then always around the turbo you should have heat sleeving on it, just because it will get really hot there. So the last thing you need is those lines bursting or anything like that. Now that all the intercooler piping is done, I just have to bead roll this one. Now that we got this all done, all the intercooler piping is fully done, ready to just get clamps on everything, and it'll be completed. Of course, I've got the dash all mounted up now. One nice thing about the way I mounted it using all the factory stuff is that when you still move the column, the screen moves with it, so then you never are blocked from seeing the screen. Moving everything over to the Drift HQ shop one last time, get this thing pulled, sealed, finished up, and I got a bunch more goodies that came in, so we can get this thing finished up this week over to Lee and get it on the dyno. It's been like 20 minutes from the last clip I filmed, and I already got this thing out of the car. This thing is super easy to remove. I did it all by myself. I just have to put a jack under the trans, pick up the motor, and just keep picking it up as I come out, and then the trans will clear everything. Now that it's out, I can clearance the trans for the starter to put the clutch and everything in here, finalize it. And we went and got a pickup tube today from our boys in Orlando, so that we can have a fully sealed engine and trans all back in the car, ready to go. Okay, I wasn't really filming a whole lot tonight. Sean and I just put some music on, started working. Sean decided to start tackling the chassis harness stuff for me. He's more comfortable with it than I am, and he basically got the whole thing ran. So we got our powers, brake lights and running lights. We got our fuel pump wires all ran. We have a breaker in the middle for power and everything. Line ran up there for the starter. And then we've got the arc panel here with wires starting to go to it. So Sean made really good progress on that, which is great. And I was up here getting all of our chase base stuff ran. So I got a chase base 6-to-1 brake booster delete. Massive shout out to chase base for getting me this, because this is gonna be sick. Make it feel like you have a booster without actually having a booster. But they have a really nice line kit as well. So I just routed the lines across the top, into the corner here, into the well, and then here, into that corner, also down into the well. And then they just hook up to your factory location here. On top of that, I hooked or put the fittings in the rack for the chase base power steering kit and everything, and they were nice enough to actually make me a power steering line kit that goes from the KA pump to a 350Z rack. So they knew what fittings they needed, everything like that, and were able to custom make me a power steering kit just for this, and it's all proper length and everything to what I needed, which is really cool. And we have a bunch more chase base goodies going on this car. We have chase base oil cooler that I'm gonna get mounted up tomorrow. Chase base power steering cooler. We have the power steering reservoir, and also around here there should be, maybe in here, yeah, chase base coolant reservoir. And then with their power steering line kit as well, they have a new fitting that goes on here to convert it to -10 AN. So we got the pump on here as well. So this is new, got a pump on here. The motor is flipped upside down right now, if you guys want to take a little look in there. Nice girl. And then one more chase base part we added to this car is a chase base sandwich plate. So this with their oil cooler is gonna be really good. I already put the line or the fitting in here for the turbo feed. So we are getting there. This motor will be all sealed up tomorrow, and then back in the car, get the exhaust back on, everything all finalized, so we can get the wiring harness in here for the engine. It is now the next morning, and we are back working on the car. I'm getting brake lines all just finished up. So they had factory brake lines going to the caliper. I didn't like that, so I went over to Drift HQ, and they actually have all style extended front brake lines. So I got their 23-inch extended front brake lines, so you just go from banjo to here. So that will be much nicer than the line that looped up, down, and was gonna scratch all the knuckle and everything. And then I got these all routed. I just need to put one P-clip right here just to hold it from going anywhere. I already did the other side, so I'm gonna get this one knocked out. Then we should be good to put brake fluid in it and bleed the brake system. Okay, Sean got the pan all sealed, new rear main seal on. He ran the hose all while I was out doing something, and then we just got the adapter plate fully bolted up. So it's an LOJ adapter plate that works for a KA or an RB, so they can be used for either or. It's got your starter hole and everything here, and that's why I had to notch the trans. And we got it all bolted up with their flex plate and flywheel set up, and so we're gonna get the clutch on. Back in for the final time, which is great. I love to see it. I'm excited. I want this car to run. I want to drive this car. I want Boot to drive this car. I want Lee to drive this car. I want all the boys to drive it. So I'm pumped. I'm excited to get this thing going. Now, start putting everything on for the final time. Everything can be tightened when it's put on now, which is great. Now I'm just getting all my Chase Base stuff in the car. Huge thank you to Chase Base for everything on this car. So we have the Chase Base 6-to-1 booster delete fully installed. The brake lines ran. I just have to bleed the brakes. So I have their front brake line kit. It just tucks in to under the fender, tied up, goes to your factory line. That's all done, and then that all runs over to go down to the rear lines, all that stuff. And they made me a full KA to 350Z power steering kit. So I've got the reservoir mounted up here. It goes to the KA pump, and then they got me the fittings and everything to run on the Z rack. So I've now got the cooler going to be going here, and it's going to stand straight up and down. I've got the 2 rib nuts here to mount it. I've already made the bracket. I'm just letting it dry. And now I'm figuring out the oil cooler bracket. So I have cut away all of this so that I could use my old oil cooler bracket to just make a flat mount in here. Okay, we are in final assembly, and we got these boys doing a quick coil swap. What should be quick, but it ain't working. And I am putting this new alternator Sean got me on. And just use this factory KA bracket, and then a modded top piece that I used to tension the belt that I made over here. So I'm gonna get this slapped on, show you guys everything. I also got all the oil cooler stuff finished up. I just need to put a filter on, but the lines all run to the Chase Base cooler back in there, all tucked in. It's very sleek look. Okay, it is Monday, and the ECU and harness show up tomorrow, which means this car is going to leave tomorrow down at Monsta. So I have to just make sure all the little finishing touches are done, just all the stuff I want done before it's down there, to make Lee's job easier, because it is going straight from him doing the wiring to starting on the dyno. So there is no, he wired it, now I get it back, then it goes on the dyno. It's going straight from him wiring it to he's the one tuning it as well. So it will be straight on the dyno. So I have to make sure everything is in place for the car to go straight on the dyno. And we have been making great progress on it. Sean is just gonna wire in window switch so that we have windows. We got door panels, seat, everything. And under here, we've got turbo wall hooked up, brakes are all done, new master and slave for the clutch. Clutch is all in. All the lines are made for oil cooler and power steering cooler, all down in there. And then we got our catch can down in here with the lines for it made. And then I got a coil bracket from Lee that I just have to do slight modification to hold these coils, and then it is good. But we're looking ready. Fan wiring, everything's down there with the solid state relay so that we can control them through the ECU, so that I don't gotta turn them on. So we got doors back on and everything. One big thing showed up today. The most important part of this whole car has finally showed up, and that is all of the Link ECU stuff. So we have a Link Fury in here, and we are running the full A and B loom flying lead harness so that we can make our very own engine harness. So it's specific for this car, for the coil on plugs, everything like that. And just makes it a lot easier. So we're running 2 of their 150 psi pressure sensors for fuel and oil pressure. We're running 4-bar map sensor and their IAT sensor with the full built-in wideband Canada Lambda that the Fury has in it. So this car is going to be running on the full link Fury, and hopefully you're going to hear this thing this weekend, popping shots, doing all that good stuff, because Lee's going to get to work on it as soon as we get there with the car. So I came in here at 6 o'clock and I was over working with Colette today, and Sean, Cricket, and Chris were over here finishing my car up for me. It was really nice of them. I really appreciate it. They got all the coolant system pressurized and tested it. Cricket fixed a couple leaks, and Chris got some fuel stuff figured out for me, and Sean got more wiring stuff figured out, I'm pretty sure, and just all the last little things we needed done in order to get the car to go down to Lee. The car is all dropped off at Monsta. Lee is going to take care of all the wiring, everything that needs to be done, and we will be back in a few days to have this thing on the dyno and see what kind of power it makes. That is it for episode 5. We got the car all finished up down to Lee, so then in the next one we'll finally get to hear this thing and drive it. So I'm excited. Thank you guys again for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and go to the Driftbums website. Check it out, see what we got, see what's going on over there.